Hold on.
Welcome back to the DFS Sweatshop. I am your host, the DFS Jerusalem, and of course, you can follow me on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. I'm here joined with the big homie, my co-host, man, the guy that's been rocking with me since the start of NFL season, and it's been very dope. Glad to have him on. Shout out to the homie Ronald, the Iceman Cody. What's up, big bro?
Oh man, what's going on, man?
Cooling, man. Good to see you, bro.
Yeah, good to see you too, man.
So what we're here to do is we're here to pretty much break down what we saw, news, notes, takeaways, things we can use rolling forward into next week. Week 5 is fastly approaching, man. We've got one more game tonight. The Iceman was a little bit happy. You saw one of his players catch an early touchdown grab, Terrell Pryor, so he was pretty happy about that. That's cool. I don't have any of him, but it's all good.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead, man, and get it in, man. We're going to jump straight into it, bro, because we don't want to hold you long. What we want to do here, just take a look at it and give you an idea of what we taking away from it. Now, anything jump out to you about week 4, any big takeaways, anything I get as an overall, because I want your lineup to be the story of the slate. Did you have a lineup that told the story of the slate? How did you do in week 4?
Yeah, I mean, I did okay. Too bad, like my best lineup was in the lowest amount that I put in for the week. But hey, it works. The Andy Dalton lineup, little Cincinnati stack did well for me. Actually, and then Cam Newton, the lineup I put in with that, I totally dismissed it. I was like, man, I'm just gonna put one in just to see what happens. And of course, it went off. So
it goes in. It came in.
Right, yeah. So I mean, I think we can also take away that, hey, for now you have to really target New England, New England's defense, New England and Cleveland. Those are the defense. I'm telling you, put a stack against those defenses every week, man, and you're bound to get a lot of points. That's what it looks like.
Yo, it's funny, yo. One of the homies in the shop, he's a little bit more famous for his golf takes, but he hit us up, man. He was like, Seth Rudnick was like, yo, the Patriots have given up like the perfect quarterback spot every week. I mean, looking back to Deshaun Watson, all the way up to Jameis Winston is going to be this week. I'm sorry, I let the cat out of the bag. But, I mean, everybody that's been playing quarterback against the Patriots have been going ham. And that's something that it didn't change, man. Cam Newton, I've been screaming from the rooftops, yo, Cam's going to go off. Cam's going to go off. I do not want to miss that Cam game when he goes off. And I can honestly say the only reason why I had exposure to Cam Newton was because you said, of what you said last week, the Saturday night show. Only reason I had exposure to Cam was because of what you said. So that was dope. I did have a piece of the Cam. And we both weren't very high on Deshaun Watson, but
no, not at all.
but what we did was we knew, hey, we knew that we could be wrong. I knew I could be wrong, and I felt like he was gonna be chalky. So we made a couple lines with Deshaun Watson, and bro, we made some stacks, bro. He went ham. He went ham.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do a jump right in and take a look at what we saw last week. The first thing I want to do is have a look at that FanDuel millimaker lineup, which is really a 500,000. It's not a millimaker anymore. I want to take a look at that, and maybe the Iceman, since he is a little bit more adept to what's going on FanDuel, he can take a look at that and kind of give us his synopsis on what he saw with this lineup. Go ahead and give us a little breakdown of what you see here.
Okay. Well, the first thing that stands out, I think, from this lineup is the. I mean, I know Watson really stands out. Zerline really stands out as well. But other than that, I mean, all these other picks, I mean, they really just these are picks that guys that we know produce. So Watson was only 6.3% owned. He was going up. He had the fifth. He was going up against defense of Tennessee that was giving up the fifth most points to the quarterback position. So that made sense. He had 34.72 points. Their next running back, Gurley, he was 19.6% owned. He was going up against the Dallas defense that was giving up the ninth most points to the running back position. And we've seen Gurley. I mean, he's really been a fantasy monster so far. So then you got Bell next, who he traditionally has good games against Baltimore.
Right.
So even though the Baltimore was giving up the 17th most points, which is under average, but Bell still had the capabilities to get these kind of points. So Hopkins was next at wide receiver. He was 16.2% owned, and going up against the defense of Tennessee that was giving up the fourth most points to the wide receiver. So we're seeing so and then next Keenan Allen, he was 15.4% owned. And he was going up against a defense that was giving up the third most points to wide receivers. And then rounding out the wide receivers, you got Fitz, who had a pedestrian game until that late touchdown in overtime.
He saved it, bro. He saved
it. He saved. Yeah, this guy Buckba, he should be thankful that game went in overtime. So, man, he didn't have a good score up until that point. So San Francisco was giving him 13th most points to wide receivers. And then tight end, you got Clay, who everybody was on pretty much.
He was a tight end chalk, bro. He was a tight end chalk.
He was, 13% on. He was going up against the Atlanta defense, giving 20th most points to tight end. However, we know in this kind of high-scoring matchup, which we thought it would be, even though it kind of didn't turn out that way, but we knew he would be heavily used. So that was a good play there. So Zerline, this is the one. 27 points for a kicker. That is
that's insane.
No, I know, yeah, man. 7 field goals, like a couple of them made. He got the little 1-point bonus for being outside of 50 yards. I mean, that's crazy. So he was 3.3% on.
That's why I dislike FanDuel, bro. That kicker shit. Man. Oh my god.
Man, it can really make or break you, man, for real. And then lastly, the Steelers defense. They didn't put up that many points, but they probably didn't have to against Baltimore because Baltimore is pretty bad. So that was not a surprise. But, I think the chalk at defense, even on DK, probably was Cincinnati. So I guess this guy didn't have to use Cincinnati in this instance. But, hey, you look at this lineup. The only one guy that I'm like, he's not even a head scratcher, Watson. He going up against the fifth most points scored against for quarterbacks in Tennessee, so that's not even really a head scratcher. And this lineup is. We can all do this. So,
and that's why we go back over these, because when these lineups become, there's no way I could have ever thought of that. Then I'm gonna quit. But this right here, this shit right here, bro, we can do this. We can definitely do this, bro. And one thing that I want to point out is you see the base of the lineup is Deshaun Watson. Hopkins, the Hopkins-Watkins stack is the base of the lineup. Like, none of this is possible without those two. The Watkins, Hopkins, and you could have, if you didn't want to use Bell or Gurley, you could have even had Lamar Miller in one of those spots, made it a real stack, or let's just say he went a real 3-man stack, didn't have Larry Fitzgerald, but had Will Fuller there who caught those 2 touchdowns and went off.
Yeah.
And I got into it with one of the homies today on Twitter, and he was like, like this whole stacking thing, blah, 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 bro, it sits in front of your face. It's in front of your face. All you got to do, to me, and this is my opinion on it. If you as a DFS player, if you can't pick the best offense, if you can't pick an offense that's going to go off, what the hell makes you think you're going to go through 30 teams and cherry pick the best individual player? If you ain't good enough to pick one of the best offenses on the slate, what makes you think you're going to pick the best player? And that's why that's what they don't want us to know. And that's why stacking in some situations is so important, bro. And it's such a real thing. Also, the other correlation, look at the other correlation with Le'Veon Bell, Steelers defense.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, the correlate. Quarterback wide receiver stack is pretty. That's the pretty basic move there. And like you said, he has another correlation stack there with Bell and the Steelers. So yeah, it's been proven stacking just really increases your chances of cashing and really doing well. So why not do it?
Exactly. Now let's move on to a place where I feel like I have a little more expertise here. Oh, and shout out. Well, we can't forget that, man. Shout out to the homie, to the $500,000 Buckba over on FanDuel, man. Yo, much love to you, man. Don't spend it all in one place, man. Good Lord. That's a nice grab right there. Now we're talking about the homie R. Kennedy 23. Yo, this dude went completely ham. Ended up taking down the Millionaire Maker tournament, man. Really solid showing for him. He has Cam Newton started off the now and see what you're gonna see here is you're gonna see Cam at 2.7% owned. You're gonna see him eat some of the chalk, and some of the chalk he ate was Leonard Fournette, who we all loved. He was in my core of plays. We all love Fournette. He had AJ Green, which I would call that a fairly chalky play. He had the Cardinals defense against the 49ers, which I would call sort of a chalky play in this spot. Now, I thought Bilal Powell was going to be a lot higher owned, and I knew I was in for a tough day when Bilal Powell on a halfback slam goes through the right gap, and the guy tackles him. He falls to the ground, gets up, and starts running again, and they call it a touchdown. I was pissed because I completely faded that. I had no Bilal Powell. I had no Buck Allen. I had none of that. And when that dude hit the ground and got back up and started running, they called it a touchdown. I was pissed. So he did pair Cam Newton with Devin Funchess. There was actually no third man in that Carolina stack to even play with. So he made a really bold move there. Of course, Tyrell Williams showed up and showed out. 100 reception yards for him with five catches and a touch. So that was nice. Tyler Kroft, bro. Yo, Tyler Kroft was one of my favorite plays on the slate. You know that. We talked about that a lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we talked about it, yeah.
Yo, I had so much Kroft, bro, and that's really what saved a lot of the lineups that didn't do, exceedingly well. So, very solid lineup here. He got a stack going, got his correlation on, and that was really good. This one was good enough for $1 million. Let's go ahead and take another look back over just a few of the positional stuff that we saw this week in terms of guys in certain spots. If you look at Cam Newton leading all quarterbacks, 37. You had Deshaun Watson, 34. Russell Wilson last night, very nice game there. Jameis Winston kind of showed up, 29. You had Andy Dalton, my quarterback, Eli Manning. Yo, what more does Eli have to do to get a win?
Oh, man, that was tough, man.
Oh, my God, bro. Yo, when Eli is running in touchdowns, man, something is wrong.
Oh, yeah.
This is a bad team, bro. We 0-4. This sucks.
They need a running game, man. That running, you got to have a running game. They can pass. I mean, obviously Beckham is going to be there, and Shepard looks good too, but they need somebody to run the ball, man.
Yeah, man. Now, the Iceman was a little bit higher on Cam Newton than I was. We both loved Andy Dalton here. That was a guy that we were on a lot. We liked Phillip Rivers here in the spot. Matt Ryan kind of let us down. We saw the injuries to Julio Jones. Mohamed Sanu was hurt. So we didn't really get and honestly, I felt like Phillip Rivers would have been higher up. You look at the game that Keenan Allen and Tyrell Williams had, but he didn't throw a ton of touchdowns. So as far as running backs went, I break that down a little bit. What did you see as far as running back went, and who did you have, and how did you parcel out your exposures?
Well, I was all in on Zeke. Zeke, I was all in on, and who else was I? Oh, yes, and Bale as well. So and that's the problem. I was all in on those guys, but I didn't put them together, and it was kind of hard to do in a lot of lineups, but. I mean, Lamar Miller had a good opportunity. I mean, so, and Fournette, like you said, was pretty chalky, but he came through, and so we were all in on Zeke, and a lot of the guys in the shop, they tried to put me on Powell. I didn't do it, but
yeah, me too.
Yeah, they tried to put me on Powell. I didn't take it, but I wish I would have, because Cook, another guy was in on Dalvin Cook. He ended up leaving the game. He's out for the year now.
Yeah,
which was, man, he was looking really good, man, up until that point. So I mean, what can you do? You get a bad injury, so
sometimes the shop is like a parent trying to give a baby the medicine. Like they're like feeding me, telling me play Bilal Powell. I'm like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I had zero Bilal Powell, bro. I had none. But yo, Alvin Kamara, I screamed from the rooftops, yo. He was the guy that I loved the most in that Saints game, and he had a really nice one. He's the one that helped me on the full week-long slate, the Thursday, Monday slate. I had a lot of Kamara, and I didn't have any Bilal Powell, and that really helped me a lot because he kind of kept pace with everybody else. So that was pretty dope. Now, as far as wide receiver went, of course, this is I'm gonna say it's a relatively low-scoring week, for wide receivers. I mean, we all started out on that Thursday slate on Jordy Nelson. He was like the only guy that we really liked starting for the Thursday slate. But you see, D Hop went ham. Funches caught a couple touchdowns. Tyrell Williams caught the touchdown that should have went to Travis Benjamin. Keenan Allen was a guy that we were already on. I didn't see Will Fuller coming that strong the way he did. Neither Jerome Brown either. So I really didn't have a ton of these top wide receivers, and I think that's what kind of separated me from that top dollar.
Yeah, because I mean, most of us, like you said, the shop was on Allen and Hopkins, but of course Nelson. But these other guys, it's kind of like, ugh. I mean, like Fuller just came back. I mean, I didn't really expect much out of him. I mean, it can happen. He's a speedster. He can. We've seen him score pretty well, and Thomas has been sort of a disappointment. But he's, I mean, in that offense, the Saints are going to put up points mostly at home. So that's the case with him. But yeah, the receivers, pretty underwhelming week, especially for Julio, man. He went out. He just killed so many people, man. I mean, I didn't go for him because I thought he was too expensive. And the guy, to me, it seems like he gets a lot of yards, but he doesn't get the touchdowns I need.
There's another guy who was leading the league in targets that you don't see in this top 8-9 graphic either. Antonio Brown, what the hell?
He was arguing with people on the sideline, throwing. He threw something. I think he threw like a Gatorade.
Yeah.
So yeah, and obviously that means he's just going to be due next week.
Yeah. But and he was open. I'm talking about he was open like on that one play, and he just got pissed. He was so open, and they just didn't even see him, to throw the ball, and he, had a tantrum. But now the tight end spot, very proud about my tight ends this week because I had 2 of the top 3 tight ends everywhere. If I didn't have Croft, I had Brate. I had some exposure to Charles Clay, but I was so heavy. And remember when we were building lines, it kept trying to feed us Rob Gronkowski. I was like, man, I don't like Gronkowski, man. Either I'm paying down. Either I'm going Charles Clay, Brate, or Croft. And those guys are the top 3 tight end plays on the slate, man. So that was awesome. That helped me out a lot. I went double tight in a lot of spots, and I'm seeing where that's more of a healthy strategy than it was last season, man. You can go double tight end now.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that is a good strategy. But yeah, like you said, we were all in on Clay, and you also with Croft, and Brate. So yeah, I mean, I think we were pretty on tight end this week. We called this one correctly. Gronkowski just never. To me, he's just too expensive. I mean, he needs to score. He needs to get 100 yards and a touchdown to just about that price. Right. So, and I just don't feel comfortable in doing it. I mean, sometimes if you have the money left over, yeah, go ahead. But I mean, Ertz is going to be now. His price will go up now that he keeps being consistently over the 12-point threshold on DraftKings. So, and then this Derby guy. I mean, he hadn't gotten more than 2 targets in the first few weeks. And then he comes out of nowhere with this one-handed catch. That was a nice catch.
That was nice.
Yeah, it was.
That was nice, bro.
So they need to throw him the ball more often because he looked good. So, but yeah, I mean, we read tight end really well this week. So,
and that's what it's about, man. I did have a lineup that kind of told the story of this week's slate, and whenever you have that, man, it definitely puts you in position to do well, man. I'm really happy about that. As a matter of fact, let me check it out, see if I have it pulled up here. Okay, here we go. This is like my best lineup. This lineup is currently in 4th place in the Thursday through Monday lineup. It was available to so many people. Hope you had use of it. And we started it out. We built this line. We started out with Deshaun Watson, also getting exposure to Hopkins here. I loved Fournette, and of course Kamara was a guy that I was really on all day, all week. He was a guy that I really liked. The problem here for me was I had Zach Miller, and I wanted to play Croft, but I fell into that trap where you want to see some points tonight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we made this lineup Thursday, and that was the Green Bay Chicago game, and I just wanted to see some points now. So I went away from the Croft play that I already liked, and I played Zach Miller, who was 200 more, and he really didn't do nothing. So, but this I had Gronkowski in this one. Jags defense, that defensive touchdown really helped it out. And this lineup is now sitting in 4th place, 193. I think the closest guy to me is like 170, and he's got shitty wide receiver from Kansas City left to go. So I think I should be good there. That was a very strong showing from us in the Sweatshop, and I was very happy to say that we made that line. And now we're just looking at really quick over some of the perfect lineups, and we review these every week. I'm gonna go, and this is the Week 4 perfect lineup. You've got Cam Newton, Le'Veon Bell, Todd Gurley, DeAndre Hopkins, Devin Funchess, Tyrell Williams, Tyler Kroft, Bilal Powell, and the Texans defense. That is this week's perfect lineup for those of you that didn't know it, and I'm sure none of you have it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But it was a good one. It was a good one. So
Yeah.
now as we fast forward on to week 5, we're taking a look just really quick. We're gonna glance over it really quick. What I want to know, I want to get this first from the Iceman. You know, trends are starting to develop.
Yeah.
One being play a quarterback against New England. Go figure. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we're streaming offenses against the Cleveland Browns. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The Giants cannot win a game. That's a trend, right? We've got right. We've got just a few trends developing. You can run the ball against the Rams. What are some games? Just looking at these, what are a couple of games that you're going to be targeting, and what are the trends that are causing you to target a couple of games, if you have any that you've seen already?
Well, I mean, obviously this Thursday game looks mighty tasty. You know, I mean, you got a good matchup for Brady there. But I mean, that whole, I mean, tight end, wide receivers, Cooks, Gronkowski. I mean, man, that game would be awfully hard to ignore. What else do you have? Yeah, on the other side, hey, Winston has a good matchup too. And Doug Martin is back this week. So Evans, I mean, that game, I mean, there's a reason why this 56 total is what it is.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I do expect New England's defense to kind of regress positively for them. I don't know if it's going to be this week, but there's going to be some correction coming with that defense, and they're gonna surprise somebody one of these weeks coming up. But I don't think it's going to be this week, but so we got to watch out for that. And then elsewhere, then you got to look at the now that Pittsburgh-Jacksonville game is going to be interesting because Pittsburgh is we all know Antonio Brown was throwing a hissy fit, and Jacksonville's defense is pretty good. So what's going to give there? So we'll see what happens there. I mean, Pittsburgh is at home. Do you get a Pittsburgh stack going there? So that's another question. And of course, we got the Dallas and Green Bay game. Now that's going to be a good one to look out after.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean because as we know, Green Bay has is pretty. For some reason they've been holding wide receivers. They've been limiting wide receiver production. I don't know why, but they have been. But you can definitely get them with Zeke on that one.
Most definitely.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to rostering Zeke again this week. So yeah, I mean, what are you looking at? What's looking good for you?
Well, now the first thing I wanted to kind of highlight was some injury stuff, because I like. I mean, you look at Dalvin Cook now being out. Jarrett McKinnon is questionable. So does that mean Latavius Murray steps in and carries the load? Do you want to even chance that against the Chicago run defense that's been pretty decent so far this season? We know with all the stuff going on in Atlanta, man, they've got the week off. Finally, they have some time. This is a good time. If they're going to have some injuries, now's a good time. They've got the week off, so we have to worry about playing Julio this week. Like you talked about, with Pittsburgh being at home, we get Big Ben at the crib facing the Jacksonville defense that's not very, very bad at all. So this could be, they're number one against the quarterback position actually right now. The Jacksonville Jaguars. And they're still, a big time underdog with a minus 8.5 going into the direction of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then of course how the Rams have been giving it up against the run here. Then we've seen so you got the Rams who give it up against the run, and you got this McKissick dude at 3.2 on DraftKings.
Yeah,
I mean that's like straight chalk right there. Like that's like everybody's gonna probably have him because he's gonna make it possible to do anything else you want to do. Then of course. You've got Oakland at home again with Baltimore coming to town. That game could see a really nice total. Of course, we know we don't have Derek Carr, So EJ Manuel
Yeah.
there. Does that mean you automatically play the Baltimore defense? So this is I think this is a lot of stuff. I don't think if you make a lineup now, you're gonna have a completely different line by the time you get the real, definitive injury information. Too, most definitely.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Another interesting game is a game that I try to look for games that nobody wants to play, and see if I can find
Yeah.
a hidden gem in there. Now you got the Indianapolis Colts and the San Francisco 49ers. The Colts are at home. You got Frank Gore playing against his old team. A little bit of a revenge narrative. Who's
Oh
been
yeah.
horrible against the run. He is
Mm-hmm.
he is the only bright spot. I think that game, Jacoby Brissett game the last game kind of showed them that if y'all want to have any success, you're gonna have to give the ball to Frank Gore. You're gonna have to let him run the ball, and then you let Jacoby Brissett play off of the run. And I think they do that early, often, and get Frank Gore the ball. He is the front runner, one of my front runners for one of my core plays this week. I kind of love him in this spot at 4.4. So I think this is gonna be a nice one, bro. And then you look at Hyde, on the other
Oh
side.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this is gonna be a good week, and I think this is a week where the people that study the hardest are the ones that are gonna do the best. I think
Yeah.
this. I think this is because last week was like that too. I think this is a winnable week for us. I really think so.
Mm-hmm. Oh
So
yeah. Yeah, for sure.
and of course, the Cleveland and the Jets joint. But this could be a shit show that nobody
Yeah.
wants to have any exposure to,
Yeah.
or it could be a diamond in the rough where Josh McCown in a revenge game goes back to Cleveland. Okay,
Yeah.
Josh
Yeah. They
goes
got
back.
rid of him for
They got rid of him for
Kaiser.
Kaiser. Okay,
Yeah.
and you see Josh McCown slinging around, and because Cleveland sucks, bro. We've
They
been
do.
streaming defenses against them.
They do.
So
Yeah.
this is gonna be a good week of NFL, man. Week 5, I'm ready. I'm ready for it. So,
Yeah.
unless you've got anything, man, we can go ahead and close it down, man, and get back to watching these games. And wish everybody good luck, man.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's let's see what happens during the week with these injuries. Injury report comes out Wednesday, and then that'll give us a better idea of what we're gonna do.
And
So.
I gotta ask this question every time, bro. I gotta ask, will you come back Saturday?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll be here.
Okay. So the Iceman is coming back Saturday. We are going to break this shit all the way down. That is nice.
Saturday Night Live.
Saturday Night Live, baby.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Now I'm gonna do something, kind of going through the complete slate. It's gonna end up seeming position by position, but really that's not really how I'm doing it. I'm gonna go game by game, breaking this thing down. That video probably will be out to you after the injury reports come out, or just before, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday. We're going to be doing our lineup builder show that is exclusively for DFS Sweatshop members. That's where we got to the money here. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So if you want to be a part of that, man, it's very simple, man. Go to the website. It's www.dfssweatshop.com. That is where you will get exclusive entry to the best Facebook group online, man. That's where we get it in at, bro. It's awesome stuff going on in there always. And this is me. This is me on the phone with Jerry Reese after McAdoo went for it on 4th down. I was like, yo, we gotta get this dude out of here, bro. So yo, go to my Twitter, find the hashtag Fire McAdoo. Let's get rid of this cat, and please let's get back to some winning Giants football. For your host of DFS Jerusalem, I got the homie, the Ronald the Iceman Coley. We are out. Much love and respect to you, man. Y'all keep it 300. Peace.
See ya.